is Black Men Matters podcast, and I started this podcast because I wanted to. Out of all the podcasts that I've ever done, I had a podcast with my brother Leroy back in 2020 with a few of our friends from high school. I had a podcast with my sister. I had a lot of podcasts with a lot of women. Right? Let's just say it like that. But was a void that I was missing that I didn't understand what it was until a little later. That I needed a space for men, for black men, black married men to converse or conversate, depending on what side of the track you're from. You feel me? Converse or conversate, and dialogue about Black Men Matters, and to kind of remind the world how much we do matter, coming off of, Black Lives Matter, right? And all of that happened within the last, 20 years since Trayvon Martin almost, damn near 20 years or 15 at the least. Um, right? So, and so just getting off that, I was like, I want to do something for the brothers to kind of share their space, kind of share their mental, their minds, um, and us dialogue. Maybe we can help some other men. Maybe we can help some black women. You know, um, men with brothers, men with fathers, men with uncles, get a husband, men with their baby daddies. You know what I'm saying? All of that. And to be clear, neither one of us. Well, I want to ask this question: does anybody have kids outside of their marriage? Meaning, before they got married, they had a child with somebody else.
Nah.
So Steven got a baby mama. We
Okay.
gonna we gonna talk about that too. Okay, Steven got a baby mama, but he's also married, right? And so that's a change within itself of coming from a certain type of life, dealing with certain type of women, then saying, you know what, I want better for myself. I want to actually be a husband to somebody and a father to someone. How can I make that shift? I know Alonzo's first child is with his wife, my cousin, hey Courtney, and Leroy's children is with his wife. I know that for a fact. And I got a little dog. I got a little dog that was there before I got there. My wife, she had the dog before I got there. So I'm a little stepdad to the dog. You
Oh, y'all got a fur baby.
They
How
got
about
Yeah,
so you
we
got a
got a
fur baby?
fur baby.
that's they practice baby. That's what it is.
That practice baby, Leroy. Because man, when I say you gotta walk them, meaning you gotta change them and make sure they go to the bathroom, you
Wait till you
gotta
want to
train
go on a
them.
trip.
You man, huh?
Wait till you want to go on a trip. Then you realize all the
Man,
energy you have to take to find someone to watch them while you're gone, feed them. Then you'll realize what it's like to have a kid. I tell you.
see, luckily we got somebody that we call TT, and
Okay.
she be having the dog for weeks on hand,
Oh,
Okay.
right? Shout out to
Wow.
TT.
shout out to
And
TT.
so
Does
that's
she
a
take?
Shout out
blessing.
to
Yeah.
TT.
Shout out
Yeah,
to TT.
that's a blessing. But when the dog come back, now we gotta retrain them. Hey, what you do over there, you don't do over here. It's just like a child, right? You go over there and so and house, you don't bring that over here. You keep that over there.
Exactly. Exactly. You're exactly
But
right.
I want y'all to introduce yourselves to the people, so they can get to know you a little bit more. Leroy,
Yes,
um,
sir.
let's start with you, brother. Let's tell the people who you are, and just what you want them to know about you.
Okay. Well, I'll keep it sweet and simple. My name's Leroy. I am a black man, as you can see. I am a black husband. I'm a black brother, a black father, and everything about me is black. I have two kids, two wonderful kids. Been married for about 8 years. Been together with my wife for 10 years. Um, I'm a musician, a vocalist, and I have aspirations to become an attorney. So in a few years, you'll see Leroy Fellas the attorney.
All right.
Oh,
Now,
Whoa, that's that's dangerous in itself.
in
A
itself.
black male lawyer, man,
Yeah,
come on, what we doing?
that's the play.
What we doing to the
The
people?
most dangerous person in the world is an educated black man. Know that.
Yeah, it is.
Dangerous, most dangerous person in the world. I don't know if I'm seeing it or if it's just me or y'all see it, but Leroy, you're a little choppy. We can hear you clearly, but your
Mhm.
video is a
You got a
little
little delay.
choppy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, let me see if I can
Yeah,
work on that.
just a little, but we can hear you clearly. So this will be
All
great for whoever listening.
right.
Let's go to Stephen with the I love what they say. I love what's
I
that?
love South Florida.
South Florida. That's a SF. Okay. With the I love South Florida hat. Okay, Stephen. Let the people know about you and tell them what you want them to know.
Well, my name's Steven, aka DJ Scuba Steve. I am, hence the name
Oh,
DJ. One of my passions in life. One thing that does get the bills paid. Also, I am a father. I am a son, and I also am an advocate for a few different things. I'm a man that has sickle cell that speaks for the sickle cell community and
mhm.
that's been through hell and high water with that also. And I'm just a man that's for the people, not just for just men for babies, women, gay men, straight men, gay women, straight women, everyone. Everyone has a voice. So
Everyone
I
has a
I
voice.
make sure that everyone speaks that wants to be spoken to, that wants to speak to the world. I try to make sure that everyone light shines brightly.
Mm,
So that's just me
I
in a
love it.
nutshell.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And you are that brother. You are very much so authentic and inclusive, if I could use that word.
Appreciate it.
Leroy, not Leroy, Alonzo. Alonzo, can you tell the people about you? Tell them what you want them to know.
What's up, everybody? My name's Alonzo, and I'm a Sagittarius. That's what y'all. All right. Oh yeah, my name's
Politics.
Alonzo. uh, been married for 11 years. Been with my wife going on about 12 to 13 years. Florida City in Fort Lauderdale. Been working for the city of Fort Lauderdale for 11 years. I'm a black man, yes, first father. Many titles that I hold. Um, uncle, brother, nephew, all the above. Just hard working blue collar guy, man. You know, I've been open to a lot of things. You know, kind of the same aspect of Steven, man. For the people and stuff like that, man. That borderline, I won't say borderline revolutionary, but for the most part, I want to see our people succeed and go beyond those stereotypes that have been on us for so long. I'm an advocate of black pride, black power, you know, but
Agreed.
not the same aspects of another term because it's been, you know what I mean when I say that. When you say black power, I'm like finding these guys, outside of Malcolm X, Martin, I'm have a little bit of everything and just try to open the eyes of our people, man, and get them to show that we're more than just the stereotype that you see. You know, I love to laugh, have a good time, you know, easygoing guy. I'm not the most knowledgeable person in the world, so don't quote me on another. I'm just the average.
We're not gonna change the world, but that's just me. It's just something that's been on my mind for the longest now, and yeah, that's pretty much it. You know.
And
Absolutely.
I am Lamar Walden. I am the person that put the band together. right? I should say these are my brothers. I've known I've known Leroy since high school,
Yes, sir.
Dillard High School. Panthers stand up. I don't know if you can see my clock. You can see my clock.
I see.
Um, and so we've been brothers ever since. We've sung together, we've traveled together, we've podcast together. Um, we even chased women together back in high school, man. We was them
Ooh,
boys. We
boy.
would come to high school, come to Dillard, suited up, dress shirt, tie.
Oh my God.
Oh
We singing
Lord,
it. Heavy wants to set you
Oh boy.
above.
really?
Doing all kind of stuff.
Lord.
we was it's too fine. Too we was right. We was that. That was me and Leroy back in high school. I have known Alonzo ever since he came into the family. It's been about 12 years, 13 years. Um, when he came into the family, he chased my cousin down here from Carolina,
Hey man.
and it's been family ever since. When I met him, he was like the brother I never had, like for real, for real. The older brother, by the way, should I add, the older brother that I never had because he's much older than I am. Um, he's almost 40. So um,
Oh,
huh?
That's a good
oh,
age.
yeah. I just got to throw that out there, huh?
You're 38.
Yes, I
Got that,
am 38.
got that wisdom.
And you,
Don't
and
worry.
you and you will be 39 this year.
Yeah, I'm knocking on the big 40 and don't look like it. Ha ha ha.
There you go. Ah,
Yes,
that's it.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, listen. I'll be 35 this year, and so I'm literally like, man, I got crackhead vibes. Like I'm over here like 35, damn near 40. What, man? I'm over here
If you
scratching.
don't
I'm trying to
stop,
get
you don't
what?
you don't get out of here till about damn near 40.
His knees hurting.
I-
Right,
I'm
he
the
got
same
big
way.
old
I don't
eyes.
know now. I got the same time. I'm staying got the same type of highs because I'm about to be 35 this year too. I'm like,
Exactly, Steven.
Y'all rocking when y'all get out the
Ex-
bed. Y'all grunt when y'all get up.
Uh-huh.
Grunt when you sit
listen,
down.
listen. Leroy just got in his 30s. He what, 30, 31 now, Leroy, right?
31, yeah.
Dang. See
So
now.
and his
you
birthday
gonna
is
feel
coming
it.
up. His birthday is this month.
Yep, this month, couple days. Turn
Yeah,
32.
yeah. So yeah, man. So I've known Steven for about 2 years. Steven is my coworker. We work at the same job, and we kind of share I can always remember how long I've been married by Steven's anniversary because I think he got like a year on me. I think so, right? Like you got like a year on me. I've been married for a year. We made a year April 22nd of this year. So I'm the young one in the bunch as far as marriage is concerned.
All
And I've learned so much from these brothers, especially Leroy and Alonzo, learning, just having conversations and watching, the do's and the don'ts of being a married man and how you have to not really give in, but compromise a little bit here and there, and
choose
kind
your
of give a
battle.
little to get a little, right? And so I learned a lot from these brothers, but Leroy is the youngest of us all in age. He's gonna be 32 this year, but this brother's mind, I'm telling y'all, this brother's mind is of a sensei for real. That's why he is who he is, talking about becoming a lawyer, an attorney. That's long overdue. Long.
Agreed.
Luther Vandross about to become a lawyer, and I
Luther.
and I and I,
That's
and I
Luther.
say Luther because I say Luther because y'all didn't ever hear this man sing. This man is Luther Vandross on the vocals, man.
All right,
So
brother.
so
That's
yeah,
my daddy. That's my daddy.
y'all gonna get that. Y'all gonna get that along, further along in the podcast. But let's start it up. Everybody know who we are. We are Black Men That Matter, and we're about to discuss Black Men Matters. So welcome to the show. And the first topic for the day, Stephen, this was your topic, man. You wanted to talk about this generational curses, um, in Black men. The root of it. It was passed down to us. Whoever wanted to jump in and talk about what type of generational curses do you think as a whole has damaged the black male species?
Hmm. Well, since it was my topic to start with, because I'm dealing with a lot of generational curses, but one that I'm dealing with personally is the the curse of the mother treating the son like the husband or the boyfriend. That's that's what I'm dealing with, personally. And I love my mother to death. She took care of me when you know I was born with my situation with sickle cell and everything, and I love her for that. But now that I'm a man now, I'm developing my own life relationship with my love of my life. It's I feels like it's kind of like a competition between them two. So I'm trying to please my lady as well as please my mom, but
Mm,
my mom has a husband, and she you know like it's all, and when it says in the Bible, when the kids leave the nest, it's you and your husband. So I left the nest now, and I have my own you know relationship. My mom is trying to pull me in more, and is trying to have a competition with my lady, and I'm hearing it from both ends. I'm
mm,
hearing it from both ends, and I'm doing my best to you know tell my mom I love you. I I do what I can for you. As you get older, I'm going to take care of you as long as you shall live. But I got a lady now. This is my lady. It's my wife. I'm trying to build my home, my nest, and yes, I have a daughter, but also put more kids in my nest, and just it's been tough. It's been real tough.
And it's crazy because for her, that's filling a void for her of what she didn't have. And you know what they always say, boy, you look just like your daddy. So when they look at us, they see our fathers, and it's a reminder, like, listen, I'm not my daddy. I ain't even trying to be studied like my daddy. Studied like my, y'all remember that song. Um, but I'm not my daddy, and so using me as that. First of all, coming in between me and my wife is a whole nother level of disrespect, and now we got to see what's going on here. Like, what's going on with you as my mom? And thank God I didn't have to go through that. Have anybody else gone through that with
absolutely.
their parents and that breaking of this my baby, Leroy?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's funny. Most people, most men will go through that, especially if the mother was either single, like a single mother, or she had a husband, but he really wasn't that much of a husband. And while you were growing up as her son, you took up a lot of the mantles of taking care of your mom, and the idea that, mom, I got this, I got that, being a good son, as one would say, right? But it is that most men who grow up in that kind of area will run into this situation. And it's mainly because, think of it like a kid. A kid who's not, if you're so used to doing something for your child and then you stop, they have this like separation anxiety type of thing, and they just want it
Yeah,
back. They
yeah,
want that support back. They want all that energy back. And when you become a husband or you have a wife or even a committed girlfriend and you start having to allocate that energy elsewhere, this is when these things happen. I went through this the first 2, 3 years. So you're in the heart of it. It will take some time
yeah,
generally to get past it, but as you know, keep doing what you're supposed to do as a husband, first and foremost. And you're going to have to, in a sense, pat the flames on both sides, because there are going to be moments where your wife's going to think mom's stepping over a line, and she may be stepping over a line. And, you want to make sure you tell your mom, but you want to be respectful at the same time. But it is a process. That is, as you mentioned, generational curses is the topic. You know, some people hear that and they hear spiritual, but I'm going to look at the carnal side. I think this is exactly what you said. And it's only because possibly of the way you grew up with your parents. I'm not coming for your dad or stepfather, or I think you mentioned she was married. But
Yeah, my stepfather.
it normally is because you filled the gap. You were being a good son, as they say. And that now that you have to now be a good husband, you've passed the baton. You're no longer a son, you're a husband. So that good son now becomes a good husband to his wife. So it's going to be a lot to go through, but it's time. Just keep doing what you're supposed to do. Put your wife first. It's going to be time, and then she'll see it. That's my thing. I remember going through that first 2, 3 years, and now it's smooth. There's a true understanding.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that, Leroy.
No problem.
what about you, Alonzo? You went through that, man?
Um, Not directly, because I grew up, like I told you guys, Leroy. Brief story. I grew up with my grandmother. She raised me because my parents were teenagers when I was conceived and everything. So I lived with my grandmother. Father was there, but he was in and out. But when I met my wife, she didn't. My grandmother didn't have any resistance at the time because she was a little ill. So I think the most I got from any kind of resistance is when I decided to move to Florida,
Mm,
because I pretty much was in her life basically since the day I
Yeah,
was conceived. I was there. I was in her life from the beginning. We lived together. I stayed there for up until my mid 20s, man, and that was the one and only time. But she wasn't mad, but she was more or less shocked that I chose this lady, and I decided to pick up and move 10 hours away. And she she didn't really give no resistance, like any ill will, because my grandmother wasn't that type of person. So, well, she was mama for me most part, but she was happy. So I can't really speak on it because I didn't experience that kind of thing, with the whole boyfriend syndrome and things like that, because it was never that. It was She never really treated me like a accessory husband or something like that, because for the most part she was married to a good dude before he passed away. Um, she just wanted to see me happy. So I mean, I've heard that's them horror stories, man, of the moms, you know, overstepping their bounds and being just outright disrespectful, knowing, and a lot of them grew up in that era of, the Bible was heavy, heavy back in those days, where they grew up with, all right, you got a woman now. I
yeah.
step back, she goes first. And now a lot of times it's turning around to where I don't care if you are married, I'm your mama. They feel like, I guess,
Hmm.
feel like I birthed you. I come
Yeah.
before her. No, no, I love you, mama, but I'm gonna take care of you, like all y'all say. I'm gonna take care of you, but my wife come before you. That's no disrespect. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Even if it's
listen.
my own house, if I'm home and you don't come in and you know, be that mother-in-law that just comes in. Well, baby, we need to do it this way, and the how you've seen that stuff they doing in the movies, and a lot of that plays true. Where they'll cut you. You got a wedding, and they planning your whole wedding. It's like, wait a minute, I'm not walking down the aisle with you. I'm walking down the aisle with her.
Mm-hmm.
That's just some of the things that you see and I observe. It's out there, but for the most part, for me, I didn't have any issues like that. It was pretty much smooth sailing for me. Outside of that, so the mother-in-law thing, I haven't really had a problem with. Even right now with Courtney's mom, she made it clear I don't interfere in your marriage. She made it abundantly clear. Like, look, I'm not gonna step into your marriage. That's between y'all. I mean, that I don't come in. I'm not coming in and telling you what to do in your marriage. And I'm like, wow, that's the first time I ever heard of that because you normally hear the horror stories of the mother-in-law, and it's like, oh God, your mom's coming over, eyes rolled, here we go. But it's not that. It's not like that. It's like mama come over. Oh, yeah, mama's coming. We excited. So she made that clear that she don't step into our marriage and try to interfere and things like that. She doesn't do that, and I love that. It's like that's a rare thing to even hear.
Agreed.
That's the same thing.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with me, bro. Like when Amber first met my mom, like the initial meeting was we pulled up to the house. My mom was getting out the car. She had just came from the store, groceries in the back of the car, and first thing Amber said was, "You need help with that, Miss Walden?" Oh, thank you, baby. Oh yeah, baby. That was it. That was she was
It's a wrap.
she had a nickname. She was daughter-in-law from that day, right? And that was the meeting. That was never. She'll say to this day, look here. I don't care what. That's my daughter-in-law. All them other hoes, them other heifers you deal with, they didn't count. This my daughter-in-law. That's gonna be my. And that's a beautiful thing, especially when you, like me, didn't grow up seeing your mother married, seeing your mother in relationships. You didn't grow up. I didn't grow up as a man seeing a man with my mom, knowing what that should look like, what that should sound like, what that should be like, feel like as a man, you know, not seeing another man support my mom, love my mom, hold my mom, and tell to me, my mom had to be strong, even
Yeah.
when she didn't feel like it, because she was the only one. She was mom. She had a cape on. Like, I can't cry. I got a son right here that's watching me. There was nobody to say, baby, baby, I just. You see shows, the Cosby Show. You see Good Times. You see all these shows that had father figures that when the wife was down or the mother was whatever, the father comforted the mother. The man consoled his
Boy.
wife. When you don't see that in the household, you're like, as a little boy, do do I? That's when the son becomes the father, or the son
Mm-hmm.
becomes the husband, because the son is feeling like, do I step in? Do I console my mother? Do I go get a job and help her with these bills? And this is a thinking at 10, 11, 12. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the thinking of young boys, of young men, because we see our mothers going through so much,
Correct.
and our fathers are, I can't even imagine having a stepfather. The type of man or boy that I was, I would have ran his ass out of there. I would have been like, what's that song? You ain't my daddy. Like,
Oh
Shut up!
God.
You ain't not. Shut up!
call your mom. Call my mom. You know what I'm
Whoa,
saying?
whoa, whoa! Come on, girl. I don't care. You gonna call me? I don't care about that.
Right. So, and that's what it would have been. So I thank God that part of my life wasn't the case of my mother meeting Amber and was like, and not to say that she didn't have thoughts of, oh, my baby is about to leave, and I don't know what that feels like to not have my baby here, because I'm the youngest. I'm the only boy. I'm the youngest. I don't know if anybody else. I know Leroy got a younger brother.
Yep.
Alonzo, I know you out. Was your brother older than you?
No, I'm the oldest sibling.
You're the oldest. And Steven, you got older brothers, but you got a younger brother too. But
Yeah.
that's on your dad's side. So on your
I'm
mom's side,
kind of like Malcolm in the middle, but
Got
on my
okay.
mom's side, I'm
So
the oldest.
so a lot of y'all are Leroy's also the oldest. I'm a baby boy, right?
yeah.
So as a baby boy, that's pressure on and the only boy, so that's pressure on me to be like, hey, what you gonna do?
Yeah.
Mm.
But
Right?
me being the
So
oldest and the only boy, I can relate to
Mhm.
how you feel, because even though my mom had had another child, like when I was like 5 years old, my sister, it she like the type of woman my grandmother was, it trickled down to my mom. And it basically my mom was like, oh, the men that's gonna be in this family, you know, we gonna teach you how to be a man. I had a stepfather, but my mom was basically drill sergeant, commander.
Commander in chief.
We follow her shift.
Yeah.
So it's like the stuff that she taught, the stuff that I was getting taught from a male point of view, but at the same time with my mom, like, okay, no, move out the way. I got it. I'll show him. I show him. I get out the way. I show him. So it's
and
like,
one thing I want to know is, especially from Leroy, I know Leroy's mom.
Hmm.
Leroy mom is that old school traditional Trinidadian
Yes,
island
she.
mama. At, as a man, as the oldest boy, how was that for you? Even though you had a stepfather in the house for at a certain point of your life, but how was that for you as the oldest boy in dealing with your mom being kind of like a single mom in a lot of in a lot of ways? How was that for you?
That was interesting. There's, the reason being is, so my mom, as you mentioned, is a Trinidadian woman. She's last generation. She moved here in like '92 or '91, something like that. And so there's some traditions that are from Trinidad that she kind of kept running in America. But the
Yeah,
one thing
yeah,
that was the biggest challenge for me and what motivated me to do certain things that I did was the fact that my dad died when I was 6, but my mom used to tell me stories about him and how great of a man he
mm,
was, and the things he would do. Like she would say when he first died. Now, guys, we know pumping gas is the easiest thing to do. But when my dad died, my mom didn't even know how to pump gas. Now, what does that mean? That means that every time she needed gas in her car, he was putting it. Or if they were driving
yeah,
together, he was coming out and putting in the gas, right? So, couldn't pump gas, didn't know how to pay the bills. My mom had to ship me and my little brother to Trinidad for about a year so she can gather herself when my father died. So when I would, when we came back and she would tell me stories about my dad and what he used to do and whatever the case may be, it of course, it gave me pride because she was saying it in such a positive way. But when my mom met my stepfather, he did not meet those expectations or goals. But because my mom is a Christian, and she believes that once a union is made, a union must be held. She's still married to him today, and what it did for me was anytime I saw her upset or worried, or when my stepfather wasn't meeting those expectations, what I could do, I stepped in on my own. She never asked me to, but because I didn't want to see my mom hurt, it motivated me to step in and do certain things. I remember I was starting to cook. I learned how to cook when I was a freshman in high school because my mom would come home from work. My stepfather would be home. He wouldn't be working. And instead of preparing the meal, like washing the chicken, cutting it up, at least getting it prepared, so the only thing she needs to do is like, put in the pan, do a little whatever. She would come home. I can't believe I'm working a 9 to 5 and got to come home and cook, stressed, whatever. And it motivated me to try to cook. So it just motivated me to do all these different things, which in itself, I kind of caused the problem that I ran into when I finally found my wife. because I personally try to fill the gap so much to be a help, to not have my mother stressed, to not have her worried, to make everything run smoothly. Because I was doing that from the age of like 15, 16 up until high school. I met my wife when I was 20. So that's at least 6 or 7 years where her son, she can count on him to do everything, work on the car, mow the grass, like just do it all, if to say. But I did it not because I loved my mom like I wanted her. I did it because I just didn't want to see my mom hurt and I saw how hard she worked. But that came back and bit me in the butt when I found my wife because there's no way I could do both. There's no way I could manage both. Someone would have to somewhere it would have to reduce, and of course it would have to be with my mom because I'm pursuing a life, as DJ said earlier. I'm pursuing my life with my wife. So that there's a great
That's
question.
good.
That's exactly what caused it. That's literally what caused it.
Wow.
That's good. I'm pursuing my life with my wife.
That's it.
Wow, wow. So speaking of that, talking about generational curses, I just got a question that for the panel and for those that are watching. This is my question.
Hmm. Well,
How do we
Mm.
survive without the male influence in the home?
Well,
well,
you could see in America today what's going on
True.
without the male influence in the home.
yeah,
It's it's hard to survive, to have, like, basically having just a mom and kids, and that's it. For before
Yeah,
my mom married my stepfather, it was that with just me and my mom. Just and I was just my mom and dad got married in 1999, and for like he was courting her for a while, but it was for a while it was just me and her. And some days it's like I would catch her crying, so it's like, I don't want to see you cry. I want to I want to help you too, mama. It's like, nah, baby, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. And then after a while, before my stepdad came in the picture, she was like, your mom, Darius, like, I can't cry. I got a son. I got to show him. So that also trickled over into, know what? I know it. Before you came here, he was my son. Let me move out the way. I'll show him.
Mm,
So that yeah, without that father figure there, or letting the father figure be there in the family, it it messes up the dynamic of the family really bad.
yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Alonzo.
Yeah, I can definitely say, man, I was product of you know, it was a two. Well, my grandparents were my parents basically, so I was a product of a two-parent home in that sense. But my grandfather died when I was a kid, and my father, again, Leroy, like I told the guys, my dad was there, but he didn't. He was battling addiction. He was on crack very bad at one point, in and out of jail. I would go visit this man in jail, even though to this day, me and my dad are like two peas in a pod, man. I mean, despite everything, he put so much stress on my grandmother that she would get physically sick. But I was in a home with just her and no father figure really there to really teach me anything. So a lot of things I did was on trial and error, and it affected. And it not having a father did affect certain aspects of my life, like even when just overall, because I had to figure out certain things on my own, because a lot of guys I hung around, a lot of them didn't really have a father in their life too. A lot of my friends, some had a father in their life, some didn't. But I think for me, for the most part, I was a little more affected and just didn't realize it because, like I said, it just certain things just didn't mesh well. Sometimes, you grow up in a house and there's no male figure in there. Unfortunately, those emotions, how they do rub off. So I'm not saying that I was some sort of little punk, but I didn't have that stability, you know, and I had to learn to toughen up on my own. I had to carry myself a certain way. I had to behave a certain way, you know, to not look like I'm some sort of chump, because I was an easy target, man. People used to bother to pick on me, and I ain't had nobody to run to outside of my grandma, and my dad was, like I said, my dad didn't really get in there and do what he's supposed to do, and when I had girlfriends and stuff like that, man, I didn't know how to conduct myself, as a gentleman. I'll be nice, but I didn't have that certain aspects, I didn't. I was still kind of kitty in a way. Even when I got my 20s, man, I
Yeah,
was still kind of like a grown child. I mean, well, a lot of us do that. We still young at heart, and but I was still those red flags. Even when I met Courtney, man, I was still behaving the way I was before I met her. I was certain my priorities were jacked up. First of all, you know, I didn't. I prioritized gaming over all things. I prioritized silly things over stuff because she was being with her, and she saw a lot of the immaturities in me and brought a lot of it to my attention. And it really like, damn, like I mean, yeah, I still game and stuff, but now I don't do certain things that I used to do no more. Now my priorities are like order. I'll go buy. My main thing is buying a house or getting a new mattress. Everything else I'll worry about
yeah.
later. I'm
Long term.
Yeah, long term, man. Because I saw one of my friends, he was doing the same thing. He just got he was married to his high school sweetheart. His priorities were jacked up, but I didn't know how. And then also trying to know how to guide him in the right way and say, "Hey, man, you need to get some furniture in this house, dog. Damn them big flat screen TVs, dog. You need furniture in this house. You got a kid." And I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to pull him to the side and say, "Hey, man, you need to do this, and this," because I, me and Courtney saw with our own eyes, and I didn't realize it then until I got back home from the trip, and it's like, dang, dude got 50-something inch TVs in his house, but he ain't got no couch. He ain't got no furniture. He ain't got no utensils. He ain't got no. Yeah, it was like, and at that time, man, it's like, dang, man, I don't want to be that way. I want, I want to be that way. I want get certain things straight. And I'm still learning. I'm still learning, man. I'm
We all still learning.
We all
Bro.
will.
Let me explain something to you. Let me explain something to you. I I am one of the biggest a-holes that I know, right? And hey, Steven. So you're shaking your head just a little too aggressively here. Okay?
My
hey,
bad.
Calm down.
don't feel
It's
bad.
okay. It's all right.
I
It's
ain't
okay.
gonna say neither.
Right? But I realize I see where I messed up at. I married a therapist.
Oh yeah.
Man, when I say my life and my day to
Ah,
day is constantly being analyzed, and see that right there. That's that that's that no having a father syndrome right there. That's what that is. Oh, that's that mama syndrome right there that I'm seeing coming out you. Oh, so you in your feelings? Well, let's put it to the couch. Come on the couch and talk about it.
Got that long couch. tell me, tell me, Darius, what's
You
wrong?
know what's so funny? Me and my wife had a argument not too long ago, and she was like, "You're just like a therapist. You always analyzing me. Stop analyzing me." I'm like, Well, I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm trying to talk to you like a man would and not argue
Yeah,
and not yell
yeah,
and not be over boisterous.
And figure
So
out
yeah.
the
I'm
root cause of what you're really going through.
I ain't trying to
exactly.
argue with you. You want to
I
argue?
Right?
ain't trying to
You
argue.
wanna argue? You bad. Hey, that's the best thing that I've ever heard. When that thing came out, that I was like, Plies, that was perfect. You wanna argue? But Leroy, what do you think about growing up as a man, a young like you pretty much said it earlier when you were talking about just coming up from being 6 years old and how what do you think
Yeah, I
um
have to agree with both the gentlemen
how do you
below
think
because
your survivor mode, what was that for you, your survivor mode as a young man growing up without a father?
I have to agree with both my brothers because even with me having a stepfather in my life, um, as Alonzo mentioned, he was there physically, but he wasn't there, if you understand what I'm trying to say, to be a true influence. The only thing I can give him, not only, one thing I can give him is that I saw certain behaviors that I should not emulate. But as Alonzo
Mm,
mentioned, because I was always running to my mom, because I tell you guys I had that affinity, I was helping, whatever, I also had problems with how to deal with emotions. I regulated my emotions initially like I hate to say this, I'm not trying to be feminist or anything like that, but like a feminine person, I would allow it to take over. I would react thus far, if it be arguing, oh, absolutely. If it be, and now I'm a big man. I'm 6'4", about 298 pounds. Like this, I can't be just throwing my weight around. That's dangerous, But I didn't know how to regulate a lot of things. I did not know how how a man should handle it. Even in our beginning relationship with my wife, it was just like there were times where I can go back and think, and I'm like, this is not the way I should have handled it.
yeah.
I really allowed my emotions to run. My priorities. I was like, I'm a gamer too, Lonzo. I game a little bit, like you said in the beginning. I would game a lot. Spend money on video games. But in the last, I have a PlayStation 5 here. I got it maybe 3 years after it came out, and I barely touch the thing every year. I might touch it 6 times in the whole year just
Oh,
because I've adjusted to what needs to what matters. Keeping my house in order. Making the money, and I have a son. I had my son when I was 24, I think, or 25, and
hmm,
the
hmm.
a lot of the things that I needed to correct early, and then the other on the other side of this, the one positive thing I would have to say is my mom spoke a lot about my father. She spoke a lot about how
Mm.
he behaved, what he did, his mannerisms. So I was thankfully able to compare and contrast what my stepfather was doing compared to what my father was doing and be able to see what I want to follow. But the one thing, stories can be great, images can be great, but I wish he was here with me, or I had a male figure who who we should follow there, because the one thing that a man has to handle is his emotions and how to suppress them, or not suppress them, use channel them appropriately. And I think all in all that it was difficult. I still have things I know I'm going through now. I know I still have ways that I still need to grow, but I'm trying my best
We
to
all
just
do.
make, yeah, exactly. Trying my best to make sure I impart the right behaviors with my son. As a lot of times I just pick him up and we just go, and then we will talk. He's 8. I want him to be away from his mom. And mom's important, dad's important, but he needs to learn certain things from dad and have the balance from mom. And so I make it a mission to at least 3 times out of the month, me and my son might go fishing. We'll go do something just to bond, talk, and so he can express his emotions and things he's thinking about and deal with it. Like, or just real quick, my son said something to me 2 years ago. He was like, I was picking him up from school. We were driving somewhere, I think home. And he was like, Dad, can I tell you something? I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, Dad, you know, when I'm at school, sometimes things happen and I want to release the beast in me. I've never, now, if you know my son, he is very kind, calm, in order. But he's like, Dad, there's sometimes that this beast, when he gets angry or whatever, it's in me. And he's like, but I'm scared to release it. I said, when he told me that, I was like, okay, this is that inner masculine energy that he wants to, that he still doesn't know how to utilize or work through. But I basically explained to him, I said, son, that is okay to have that there. It's needed when it's needed, but you just have to know how to use it. So of course, I haven't gone into that. He was much younger than he was 6, but that I'm glad he's open enough to talk to me, let me know those things, so that as he gets older, because as we know, that's when the challenges will step forth with him being an older man and knowing when and how to use this quote unquote beast that's in us. So those are the things that I missed. I never learned how to use the beast. And when the beast would come out for me when I was growing up, it was so dangerous that it almost made me feel like, oh, that's never supposed to be used. No, we're supposed to have it. It's just there's an appropriate place and how much we use. So great question though.
That's the same for me too, man. My beast was never properly tamed.
Thank you. Yeah.
Being in a house full of women, I would always go in my room. First thing that my mind would say is, I gotta break something. That was my release. I gotta break something. Punch a hole in the wall, break a lamp, just start tossing stuff. That was how, because I didn't want to hit anybody,
Mm-hmm.
especially my mother, or put my hands on my sister. I didn't believe in, still don't, in physical violence towards women. So my mindset was, I need to break something. I need to release this energy on something that can't hit me back or can't press charges. You know what I'm saying? Like, so growing up, now being married, I still have that. The first thing I go to is getting a table and just throwing it. Now I got to realize what that looks like to my wife.
Mm-hmm.
I go, he he can throw it at me or hit me, or just because he's not ready. And I'm like, oh man. So our beginning stages of our relationship, my understanding what it was to survive without a male in my household, I didn't survive. I escaped. I didn't survive. I escaped. I literally, by getting married or by always being at the church or
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
having, I escaped from ever really dealing with what that
It looks like
effect was of the
yeah.
cause of not having my father,
Yeah.
you know, and or male influence. I didn't have a male influence until I was about 16 when my uncle Lester came to live with us. And Alonzo know Uncle Lester. Leroy, I think you remember Uncle Lester, light skinned man, long hair, tall,
Mm-hmm.
pimp, skinny little man. um, he taught me what being a man was. He taught me what being a man was. How to dress, how to cook, how to clean the house, how to be there for my mom, how to be there for women. Period. He was that foundation. That he was that installation for me. Um, kind of, okay, I don't have my father, but I have someone. It's better
Some.
late than never,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so when I got with my wife, a lot of things you don't realize what triggers you have until someone triggers them.
Mm-hmm.
that's
Especially when it's
that's the
someone
thing
you
about.
care about.
Say it one more time.
I said, especially when it's someone you care about.
Yeah.
Especially when it's someone you care about.
It's a
You
total
don't.
different
You don't.
trigger.
Man, and you're trying to think logically, and they're coming at you emotionally, and that balance. that balance ain't really balancing. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so it's. Go ahead, Lonzo. What you were saying?
No, no, I'm sorry. I was agreeing with you. I was agreeing with you.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, for me, I'm still in survival mode. I'm still trying to survive with this whole thing of even being married, not seeing myself as a man because I never seen it, right? Not that I don't have uncles and in my life that married my aunts, or not that I don't have married people but because I never seen it in my household, I never seen it growing up, I never seen it in my front view. It was never demonstrated to me that this is what you do. This is how you do it. Because I always had a female's perspective and a female's outlook on things. And so it's like I got a PS5. My wife bought me a PS5 for my birthday.
Same here.
One of the best gifts forever, because it showed
Xbox
that you
One.
understand that I need, huh?
I'm Criminal Pro.
No, no, I heard some trash. I heard some trash talking.
Right. That was a feedback.
No, but I realized that it was her way of saying, "I know you need an outlet. So I'm
Amen.
going to give you your outlet." So that helped me understand how to give her her outlet. If that's going downstairs, going to the mall, going to get her feet done, or massage, going with her friends. I gotta learn how to be here if she's there, or be there if she's here, and not be, where you going, where you at, where you with, and be an individual. Allow her to be an individual and still understand that we still in this together, and nothing's out of order. And so it was me learning how to allow my wife to be who she is, or who she was, even before I got in her life.
Hmm.
you know, and because especially if she's the type of person that never stopped me from doing what I want to do. That was foreign to me. Like, why are you not worried about who I'm with and what I'm doing? I would be like, nigga, what is wrong with you? Why do you want toxicity? Why do you want a problem? You want a problem. What is that? What are you trying to get? Is it because you're so used to confrontation with women that's what you want from your, like, it was just weird, right? So I'm still in survival mode of learning, even the fact that my father is connected, kind of, to my in-laws. My wife's sister's husband is the nephew of my father's wife. And
Wow.
so me connecting with one of my sisters, finding my other sisters on social media, you know, being that close and not being able to reach out and talk, and not even really wanting to, because what am I gonna say? Hey, Dad, I'm married. What are you gonna say? I had a nigga with these. Congratulations, that rejection
Yeah.
of, I'm doing something, I'm trying to do something that you could never do, which was be faithful, be a good father, be a good man, without sounding angry about it, like not giving it to him as an angry person, but a person that is healed. I'm still going through that survival mode, of trying to heal everything that I tried to suppress of him doing, and say, no, that's, that ain't got nothing to do with my father. That's just me. And it was like, and my wife would be like, no, that has everything to do with the absence of your father. Because there's things that men teach you, there's
Hmm.
things that women instill in you, but there's things that men, you gotta get from a man. And if you've never gotten that from a man, then you're gonna, and that's why this is so important for me, knowing that, Leroy, your first child was a boy,
Yeah.
and then God gave you a girl, and I know my cousin wants a boy sooner. I know she does. I've heard her talk about it. It's, and
He talking about
but
me.
oh yeah, that's my
Yeah, she
cousin-in-law.
wants a
So
boy.
yeah, I know she does. And you know what's crazy? I never did.
Yeah.
I never did. Why? Because of how I grew up. And I
Mm.
never wanted to repeat that. Yeah, I would think, with a girl, they'll be more like their mama, have that father daughter thing. But my son, I'll be looking right in the mirror, man.
Mm.
Oh, the
You were more.
devastate the go ahead.
I said
I'm,
you were fearful of not living up to the standard of a father that you never had, and it's only because you
Oh
don't
yeah.
know what that standard requires,
Oh yeah.
and that's where the
Oh
fear
yeah.
stems from.
I can
Oh
tell y'all
yeah.
one thing that happened to me, like a little side story. Way before I met Courtney, I was dating this girl. I was in my early 20s. I wasn't established, no car, nothing like that. This girl was already established, dog. She had her own house, everything. And this is what you call the ready-made family.
Mm.
She had a son, an infant son at that. I would say about 2 years, maybe 1 to 2 years old. He was still in diapers. Once again, I got with this girl through friends at work. It was good, but when the son was introduced, I didn't know what to do. You know, Here I am dating this girl, and she got a kid, and I don't know how to take care of no child. I'm still kind of a kid myself. And it was kind of, and it was a letdown because this girl had her own house. She had a good job. I worked at Burger King. She was a nurse. She had a car. I didn't have no vehicle at the time, so I looked like the bum. Because
Mm.
I'm living with my grandmother. Didn't have my own place or whatever. So that was kind of a lot of variables in there. It's kind of like I know in the back of my mind and probably her sisters. I went to school crazy. I went to school with a sister, and I know they were like, "Yo, this dude ain't got his own car. He ain't got his own place." Like, and then to be introduced into a with the kid, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I know I'm not his father, but it's like it kind of interferes, especially if you want some alone time. It's like, I wasn't thinking about that at the time, man, and I look back now like, dang, well, that was horrible. It's almost embarrassing, because you get with somebody and they already got a kid and you don't know the first thing about raising no child or
Mm.
doing any of that. And it's not like she wants you to be the father, but she just has to be known. Look, I got a kid. Hey, kid might ride with us a couple times, and I can't say no. I ain't driving, and even if I was driving, I still couldn't say no. And it was like, and for the longest, man, I was like flatlining on a lot of stuff. Like even when I got with Courtney, like I said, certain things were going on, red flags, man, a lot of red flags and stuff, and you know, trial and error, man. Being a husband and being a father because I'm still learning. I'm still, my daughter's 6 years old, man, and it's like time flying, and I still got to work on a lot of things from the aspect of being a husband or being a father, because I still, like y'all, like Leroy, how you were saying that beast in you, and I'm usually the most humble guy you'll ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, I smile, but I know inside I have a part of me inside, and I've said it before, like I like to keep that part of me locked away because I've let it loose on being bullied and things like that because I would be real quiet, wouldn't say nothing, never cause trouble, and then when I flip, I'm like flipping tables and slinging
Mm-hmm.
chairs and like a one man riot, and I would rage. And there's been a couple times where I've raged at home because I let the pressure get to me, and I didn't know how to check that emotion,
Mm-hmm.
and that happens, and I ain't nothing to be proud of, nothing to brag about. I would blow up. So my release is to get on the Xbox, man, get on the game, and just
Yes.
play something. And because I've been doing that for the longest, gaming forever, been gaming since Nintendo. And I would get on there, and it was something I love to do. So when I'm stressed out, I would turn on the game, or I put on some music, have couple little get a little sip here and there, and just mellow out and try not and just not take my mind off of it, because as men we deal with a lot.
Yep.
It's that whole provider, that hunter gatherer type deal
Oh
that
yeah.
that we deal with. Because my wife Courtney is like, she's very religious person. She's avid on that, being equally yoked and all these things. And she looks to me as the head of household. She's the old school. She was brought up the old school way, very traditionalist. So it's the whole being the leader. And I ain't gonna lie, I fall short in some areas, man. I I I fall short in certain areas, and unfortunately, she's had to pick up the slack on, and it's like it does weigh on you a lot. It's like, man, dang, like I'm supposed to be the one man show, and just because we're both working, and it's a lot of things we got to deal with. Just life in general be kicking you in the gut every second of every minute. You wake up like bust you right in the face. You know, left it come out it be coming out left field every time.
You ain't
Hmm.
lying.
Or some days
Hmm.
I be wanting to scream, wanting to cuss,
Yeah.
and well, I do. I say what I got to say. It's like, man, like, you know what? F this, because sometimes I'm like, man, oh my god, probably I got this gray in my face now, and you get up and you still roll, man. I still go, because there's been so many times, dog. I'm not gonna lie, that I was wanting to throw my hands up because I felt like it was too much,
Yeah.
but I don't, because she's even feared that one day I was just gonna get up and just take off, and I don't. I still, no matter how much I might gripe about it, I'm still pushing on. I
Yes, sir.
haven't I
Yeah.
haven't quit. I haven't quit on my wife. I haven't quit on my job. I haven't quit on life, because I've had some very dark thoughts
Mm-hmm.
even before I met her, at one point where I felt unworthy.
Mm.
I felt like, I didn't measure up, because I look at a lot of guys and I see them that there's the man's man, and that again with that generational curse. I'm not your average man's man. I'm nerdy. I like watching Marvel and things of that nature, because I grew up around the generation of men who didn't do that sort of thing. In the black community, especially, it's almost frowned upon to be nerdy and to be
Mm-hmm.
goofy. You could be goofy, but you got a certain there's a certain level to it. You can't be downright just silly.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. You
come
gotta have
around a
some
lot of my
swag to it.
yeah. And I'm not that kind of guy. I'm the silly dude. Always have been. Always been that way. Like I said, I grew up around those men's men where they don't like to cry in front of you. They don't like to show too much emotion. They don't want, because and all men, not just black men, all men in general, it was crying was seen as a weakness. Even amongst most women, they'll look at, and outside of my wife, but most women are turned off when a man shows emotion, when he
Yep.
cries, or when he looks weak in any form. You know, and it is a lot to be around, the men's men, and you're still very young acting. I would say, even though I'm 38, I'm still a young acting guy. I don't carry myself as if I'm 38 going on 40. I carry myself. I have an old soul, but I'm still young at heart. I refuse to be one of these guys just because I'm a certain age. I'm supposed to stop being who I am. I'm not like I'm supposed to walk around my pants kicked up my ass because I'm a certain age. You know,
Yeah.
like because I'm about to be 40, or I'm supposed to act like I'm 40. No, I don't care if I'm 80
That's
years
probably why
old.
they
I'm
were
still
so.
gonna be me.
That's probably why they were so grumpy, because their pants was all crack, all up in their crack. Nigga, pull the
I
pants
pull my
down
Well,
just
pants
a
up
little
under their
bit.
armpits. You know, I'm 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 supposed to conduct myself a certain way because I am of a certain age. Nah, man, I wasn't born in that era that you guys was. Man, I'm an '80s baby. All the cats from the '60s and
Yeah,
'70s growing up, they were different, and a lot of them have a two-parent home. And I look at that, and that bothers me a little bit too. It's like you can see the product of a two-parent home.
You can.
Yeah,
You see it,
yeah.
and
well, this is and this is for another topic. But that two parent home, there's a way that you got to look at that, and we can talk about that on the next episode. Because just because there's two parents in the home, don't mean there's two parents in the home,
I
right,
hear you.
right?
Mm.
And so we see, oh, they got a mother and a father, but what's actually in
What's
that
going on?
peephole? What happens
As
when
you
you
look in the
what's going on
window,
behind the scenes?
yeah, when nobody's home,
Yeah, when nobody's when they don't know nobody's watching,
Yeah.
when they're not putting on a show just to, oh, we're the Huxtables. Well, no, you may be you may be Brady Bunch,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
like
but
look
you
like
ain't
a
no
scene of Love
Huxtables,
and Hip Hop.
right?
Yeah.
You
Really
know,
hmm
true.
and so as we close, I thank you, brothers, all of y'all, Alonzo, Leroy, Steven. Listen, this is a brand new podcast. And we got some kinks, we got some technical difficulties, we got some a whole lot of things that we working out, and the conversations are authentic, and they and but we want y'all to know that there's black men in the room,
Yeah.
and we are not just black men of any type of, no, we cut from a different cloth. You know
Everywhere.
what I'm
And
saying?
if I
Every
can,
single brother on this panel is cut
Yes,
from a
sir.
different cloth, and from the oldest to the youngest. And it's gonna be some crying on here. I ain't even gonna front and be like, I ain't finna shed some tears and be out here ugly because he went there in the
Not,
bubble,
not.
and then I had to, and
so
then
stupid.
it's gonna be a whole lot of that going on, but we in a safe space of brothers, we ain't got nobody saying, "Oh, you just a punk. What you crying for? You ain't nothing but a little sissy crying all the time. So all you do is," we ain't got that. We ain't
Yeah.
got that. We are black married men. We love our black wives. We love our black mothers, our black sisters. And we are black men who matter. And listen. So until next time, until next week, we're gonna have a new topic. We're gonna have fresh ideas and more things to talk about. And we want to hear from y'all. What y'all want us to talk about? What topics y'all have for us black men that y'all want to hear about, and we extend that to you guys out in the atmosphere. Again, watch us on any podcast platforms that you have. I'm Lamar. This is Leroy, Steven, Alonzo, and this has been Black Men Matters podcast, and we are black men who matter. Till next time.
Be easy.
Easy.